Open the image of interest using image J. For this tutorial, let us quantify the control alpha SMA staining image and then followed by the treated staining image. The first step is to split the image into red, green, and blue channels. At this time, the green channel can be disregarded. To use the manual threshold method, click on Threshold and adjust the slider such that all the alpha SMA stained area is red in color with a black background. Over-thresholding or under-thresholding may greatly change the quantification. Once the foreground is red in color, click Apply. Similarly, the threshold can be applied to the DAPI staining. While applying the threshold to the foreground, the background can also be thresholded. It can happen when there is noise or unwanted background staining. Users may choose to remove the background staining to obtain a proper thresholding. To do this, select a small area on the background staining and check the mean intensity. The size of the selection, shape, or area does not matter at this time. The mean intensity, that is 75.04, is the background staining in this image. To subtract the background, click on Process, Matte, and Subtract. Now use the value that was obtained earlier and then click OK. Now adjust the threshold of the DAPI staining again. To obtain the mean fluorescence intensity, the area, standard deviation, and mean gray value are to be selected. Now click on Analyze and Measure. Similarly, the mean fluorescence intensity of the DAPI staining can be obtained. The mean fluorescence intensity of the control alpha SMA staining is 123.999 and for the DAPI staining is 38.866. Once the control alpha SMA staining image has been quantified, let us quantify the treated staining image. We will use the same strategy to measure the mean fluorescence intensity of the treated staining image. Maintaining the similar parameters across all image analysis will provide an accurate quantification of the staining. Once the threshold is achieved, measure the mean fluorescence intensities of the alpha SMA and DAPI staining. The mean fluorescence intensity values of the treated alpha SMA staining is 175.08 and for the DAPI staining is 46.001. These results can be easily copied into an Excel file. To calculate the normalized mean fluorescence intensities, select the mean gray values and divide by its corresponding DAPI staining values. This result is the normalized mean fluorescence intensity value for the control alpha SMA staining image. Similarly, the normalized mean fluorescence intensity value can be calculated for the treated alpha SMA staining image. Users may or may not choose to normalize the mean intensities depending on the biological questions being asked. To use the auto-thresholding method of quantification, open the image of interest using image J. All the steps in this process is quite similar to the previous method of quantification, except the steps involved during the threshold. Let us maintain the same parameters to check how much manual threshold method differs from the auto threshold method of quantification. Now, let us select the auto threshold option. Users may choose any of the many methods of threshold styles depending on the image types. The best way to choose the method is to try all the methods. The result is a montage image with various methods of threshold applied to the staining. Choose the method that best fits your staining. We would definitely avoid the methods that involve under-thresholding or over-thresholding the staining in the images. For this tutorial, let us select the Huang 2 method. Users can also check the auto-threshold method for the DAPI staining. To apply the auto-threshold, click on Image, Adjust, and Auto-Threshold. Now select the Huang 2 method for alpha SMA staining. Similarly, auto-threshold the DAPI staining. After the auto-threshold is completed, the mean fluorescence intensities can be measured for both alpha SMA and DAPI staining. We can compare the similarities or differences obtained using the manual threshold method versus the auto-threshold method of quantification. For accuracy in the quantification of the mean fluorescence intensity, selecting the correct threshold is a very important parameter. Thanks for watching.